So you're thinking about moving to Orange County, California. Well, in this video, we're gonna go over the pros and cons of living here. And then hopefully you can make a decision as to whether or not this is the right place for you and your family. So let's get right to it. Well, today I am down here in South Laguna Beach, and this is Treasure Island. And Treasure Island Beach is a very special place. So if you ever get a chance to make it to Orange County, this is definitely one of the beaches you want to see. And we're going to jump right into pro number one, and that's weather. The weather is quite amazing. I'm actually filming this in January, and as you can see, the weather is phenomenal today. It's going to be a high of 66, and there's not a lot of places on the East Coast that you're going to see this type of weather. So if you're looking at California, this may be the place for you. Wardrobes are usually pretty standard, and that's one, and that is short sleeve shirts and shorts. And that's what you're gonna see a lot in California when you go shopping. Yeah, you're gonna see people rolling around in business attire, but typically, yes, it's gonna be the very casual attire with the short sleeves because our weather's so amazing. We average about 70 degrees year round. However, during the summer, we definitely will heat up a little bit. We usually see down at the coastal areas ranging between 75 and 85 for the highs. Here's the thing though, if you live inland from the coast and you're say on the eastern edges like Yorba Linda or even Rancho Santa Margarita or even Mission Viejo, you're gonna need to add about 10 degrees. Because if it's 85 down in Laguna Beach, it's usually going to be about 95 in Mission Viejo during the summertime. And that's when you're going to definitely be running your AC. Do we see some triple digits once in a while? Absolutely. But it usually breaks and doesn't last very long. So keeping that in mind for weather. And it is quite amazing. But that leads me to pro number two, the economy. That's another big reason why people are moving out of California and stay here. And because there's so many great jobs. And there's a lot of high-paying jobs. And Irvine is loaded with some big companies. And I'll give you an example. Google, Broadcom, there's also Blizzard Entertainment. There's a lot of car companies too. Kia, Mitsubishi, Mazda, Hyundai Capital. And the biggest employer in Irvine is actually the University of California, Irvine. They actually employ over 26,000 people. If you do some research on them, you'll see in the U.S. News and World Report that they have that university at number 9 in the country for public universities and number 33 when you combine private and public. So there's no shortage of jobs in Orange County. You just need to come and do a little research and find the right place for you, and it could really work out for you. Well, let me take a brief moment to introduce myself. I am Chris Goodwin, and I've been a licensed realtor here in the state of California for 24 years. Furthermore, I have been living in Orange County for over 51 years, so I really know this county well. So, whether you're looking to move in 9 days or even 9 months, just give me a call or shoot me a text. If you're out of the area, like internationally, well, you can always reach me by WhatsApp. And everybody's situation is very unique. And once we have a call, we can definitely try to narrow down, what you're looking for, because this county can be very confusing because there are 34 cities to choose from. In addition to that, there's 19 areas that are called unincorporated. So when you combine all that, you've got a lot to choose from. And, until we really talk about your situation, it's going to be hard to decide, where you should land. So let me help you make that smooth move to Orange County. Let's move on to another pro, and that would be location. Orange County is in the sweet spot of Southern California, and let me explain why. To our south, we have San Diego, which is about an hour away, and then to our north, we have Los Angeles, which is another about hour trip. And then to the east, we have Riverside and San Bernardino. And then, of course, to our west is the coast. And if you shoot off to the west, you can actually take a ferry boat out of Dana Point or Newport Beach over to Catalina Island. If you've never heard of Catalina Island, I highly recommend you go on Google Earth and take a good look at it. It's a beautiful little island. A lot of people go there for day trips, and they'll take that ferry boat, or they can stay in one of the hotels over there for a few days. When you roll into the Avalon harbor there, you'll see that there's a lot of shops and little restaurants, and it's just a really cool place to hang out. But that's one day trip. But if you want to go down to San Diego, like I said, it's about an hour away. You could go down there and experience all that. And then of course, LA is just loaded with restaurants and entertainment, so much more. So you could always roll up there as well. And then here's the great thing. I'm filming this in January. Keep in mind, people are skiing up in Big Bear, which is San Bernardino Mountains. And they have the slopes up there. And you could actually go skiing all morning long. And then you could be back right here at Treasure Island Beach for the late afternoon watching the sunset. How many places in the United States can you go ski all day and then be back at the beach where it's 66 degrees with blue skies? And that's what makes this such a special place and the location so special. And of course, for you golfers, yes, there's Palm Springs, California. And that's only about an hour and 45 to about 2-hour drive from Orange County. And then going back to the mountains, same thing. It's about a 2-hour drive up to the slopes. So there's so many great spots to hit based on our location. And that's what makes Orange County so special. All right, let's go into pro number 4, and that would be crime and safety. I consider this county to be extremely safe. However, you know, it's subjective. Everybody's going to have their different feel of what is truly safe. But I will tell you, if you go to safewise.com, they have the top 10 cities. And of those 10, 7 of them are actually in Orange County. One's in North Orange County, which is Yorba Linda. But in South, we have Irvine, we have Mission Viejo, Rancho San Margarita, Laguna Niguel, Aliso Viejo, and Lake Forest. And those 7 cities are on the top 10 in all of California. This kind of goes to show how safe Orange County can really be. So if you're looking to do your research, yes, check out safewise.com. And I'll also tell you this, Irvine, that's a very special city. Not only is it the job hub of the county, but it was ranked by the FBI stats 18 years straight being the #1 safest city in America. However, that was based on populations of 250,000 or more. Let's jump into pro number 5, and that would be education. This is extremely important for people with families. And when you do your research, you definitely want to look at least 2 websites, niche.com and greatschools.org. And you can type in any school that you're looking at in Orange County, and you're going to see the rankings. And you're going to see that Orange County has very good rankings. And I'm going to use 2 school districts as an example. The first one is Irvine. That is ranked the #1 school district in all of Orange County. Irvine, I went to Irvine High School, and I know it's a very good place to grow up and furthermore go to school. It was a great experience for me, but I will tell you, they are ranked #1 in Orange County, like I just said, and furthermore, they are number 20 in the entire state for education. And they are a little more strict in regards to moving around, meaning whatever neighborhood you live in, you need to go to that school that you're slotted for. They don't really create flexibility where you can move from school to school. But I will tell you, in South Orange County, we have Capistrano Unified School District, and they're a lot more flexible. You can actually apply to other schools outside your neighborhood, and they typically will take you as long as there's room. And when you start doing your research, you want to reach out to people like the principals at the schools and actually make appointments with them. They will sit down with you, tell you all about their school, and actually give you school tours. I know this for a fact because I did it myself with my own child, and it worked out great. Education here in Orange County, there's so many options. So if you don't want public, then yes, you can go private, and there's tons of schools out there that are private that are really, really good that you can find on niche.com as well. I will tell you though, the rankings on niche.com for Irvine and Capital Unified School District came in at A+. So there's no shortage of good schools in Orange County, and you can save your money and put it towards housing. All right, well, let's jump into some of the negatives, and that is the cons of Orange County. And I will tell you, before you make that decision and move here, you definitely need to hear the bad stuff. And it's not always bad, it's just that, yes, this is a great place to live, and if you're gonna live here, it's gonna get very expensive. And the cost of housing is not cheap. You know, just in the last 7 days with the closing of escrows, in the county, the median price has exceeded 1.3 million. So it's not cheap, and that's just for a regular home. Now there are condos in this county for $300,000-$400,000, but there's also houses that exceed $50 million, and those are typically in Newport Beach where they boat slip. So, there's something for everybody, but like I said, you're going to be paying a single family residence for a home of about 3 to 4 bedrooms in Orange County, in the neighborhood of $1.3 million. So it's not cheap. And you compare that to a lot of other states, yes, other states are much cheaper, but they really don't have, the weather and the jobs and the specific location benefits that we have here in Orange County. So those are things to keep in mind. And our property tax is usually right around 1.1%, but here's the negative. If you're in one of the new construction areas, that property tax can exceed the 1.1. They have what they call Miller-Roos. Miller-Roos is tacked on in order to build the infrastructure. And a lot of people don't realize this. Here's the good news. I know a lot of the areas that don't have Miller-Roos. And if you want to avoid that, then I can definitely steer you in the right direction, because that additional property tax can really add up quickly. So those are things to keep in mind. Now, I will say though, typically our wages here in Orange County are much higher than a lot of other states. So it kind of offsets itself. So you will make a lot more in California than, say, if you're in Iowa, but you're gonna be able to buy a house in Iowa for a lot cheaper. So it really just depends what you want, how big of a house you need, and what kind of weather and what kind of job market you're looking for. All right, let's go into con number 2, and that would be wildfires and earthquakes. Yes, they do exist here in Orange County, and we have many spots where wildfires could happen, especially in the foothills of the Santa Ana Mountains on the eastern portion of the county. We have places like Rancho San Marita, Coda Casa, even other spots down by the ocean. There are some hillsides where there's a lot of brush, and when you have that kind of brush, you have fire hazards. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. And if you're in that fire zone, and there's state maps that show that, and if you can't find those, I can definitely get those for you, tell you whether or not you're in one of those fire zones. And if you are, you're going to be paying higher insurance. And a lot of companies are either pulling out of insuring people in California due to fires, or they're just charging more. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. Now, there's plenty of places in Orange County where there's not fire zones, and you will pay a lot less in insurance. And of course, earthquakes. Yes, in California, we always have a chance of earthquakes, but every state usually there's some form of natural disasters. So it just really depends on which disaster you're waiting to take a chance on. So those are the cons of fire risk and earthquakes in Orange County. All right, let's move on to the next con, and that would be transportation. Yes, you're going to need a car here in Orange County. We are pretty spread out. Most people have cars. Yes, you could take Uber, you could take Lyft, but that gets really expensive. I think that a car payment or a lease payment would be much cheaper than going that route. Yes, we have buses, but they're pretty limited, and you're going to probably have to do multiple transfers to get to wherever you're going. And then we do have a train, which is actually really cool. It runs from San Diego up to LA, and you can get some great views of the ocean on some of the portions of that run, especially through like San Clemente. But that is probably not going to be your mode of transportation. So yes, vehicle is definitely going to be a necessity in Orange County. So you may consider that a con, you may not, but it's definitely worth talking about. And that leads us into gridlock. Whether or not we have that in Orange County, we do at certain times of the day. Typically it's during your commute hours, like 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. and then typically from like 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. That's when you're gonna see the most vehicles on the roadway. And yes, it can get quite congested. There's freeways called the 55 and the 91, and those can be quite horrible at times, at different times of the day. So keep that in mind. There's definitely a lot of traffic in Orange County, but it's not anything like LA. LA is gridlock, and that is one place that can be really tough. It seems like 7 days a week. San Diego has a lot of traffic, and so does Riverside. So our surrounding counties definitely see more congestion than we do in Orange County, but it just depends on where you're going and what time of day. All right, let's move on to the final con, and that would be HOAs. Yes, we have lots of them in Orange County, and HOAs can actually be a really good thing, but a lot of people consider them cons because one, there's a fee involved, but keep in mind your HOA actually does a lot for you. The landscaping in the common areas, if you have a pool or a park that belong to the HOA, they definitely maintain those as well, but they're also going to enforce the rules of the pools and the parks and the parking a lot of times. And here's the good news though about HOAs. If your neighbor wants to do something really crazy with his house, either with paint colors or some funky addition to his home, and it's outside an HOA and you don't have any say and there's no regulation by an HOA, that could drive down your property value, especially when you go to sell. But here's the good thing about the HOA. They regulate all that, and they are going to keep your neighbor in check, and that could actually benefit you in the future for when you want to sell. So HOAs are not always that bad, but keep in mind, if you don't follow the regulations, they can definitely fine you, and that's something to keep in mind. So anyways, that is the HOAs, the pluses and the minuses. Well, that was the pros and cons today of Orange County, California. So hopefully that was informative and that gave you some ideas to whether or not this county might be great for you and your family. So just remember, whether you're moving in 9 days or 9 months, it's never too soon to reach out to me. You can shoot me a text, you can call me, or if you're international, you can always reach me on WhatsApp. And we'll try to really pin down a city that might best fit you and your family. There's a lot of choices with 34 cities and 19 unincorporated areas. You definitely can find a spot that's right for you and your budget. But until we have that conversation, you won't know. So until next time, have a great day.